we are tracking what, like 1.3 million port calls a year with satellites and, real-time weather routing. So why is it that we still can't predict when a ship is actually going to arrive?
Yeah, it's a huge problem.
Right. Welcome to our deep dive into recent Splash 247 insights and last month's Geneva Dry debates. We're looking at where maritime technology is, well, completely missing the mark. And Willem Vermont recently said something that just perfectly frames this whole mess. He said, garbage in, garbage out. We've just made the garbage move faster.
Which is spot on. I mean, the industry is currently obsessed with AI and, building these massive dashboards for hyper control. But beneath that shiny surface, basic operational inefficiencies haven't budged at all.
Because before we can even talk about AI revolutionizing shipping, we have to look at the actual data feeding those algorithms.
Exactly. The core issue isn't a lack of computing power. It's a lack of trust and just pervasive data hoarding. Look at the numbers. Like 36% of AI's messages are missing their ETA data entirely.
Wow, 36%.
Yeah. And of the ones that do include an ETA, half of them are inaccurate.
Wait, half? That's insane. Because if you are operating a dry bulk fleet right now, you know exactly how tight margins are. I mean, just a 1 to 2% inefficiency across, say, 2,000 port calls, that easily bleeds $7 million a year.
Easily. It adds up so fast.
So here's what I just don't get. If operators are the ones bleeding cash, why are they incentivizing or even allowing this data manipulation in the first place? It feels totally contradictory.
Right. So it's basically a classic prisoner's dilemma. You have cargo owners aggressively guarding their load readiness to, maintain
A short-term commercial edge.
exactly against their competitors. Then the master adds a buffer of a few hours to the ETA to cover themselves, and then the operator slaps another buffer on top of that.
So everyone's just padding the numbers to protect themselves.
Yeah, everyone is optimizing for their own tiny silo, and that completely breaks the data ecosystem for the whole chain.
Which means operators are losing millions because they're feeding intentionally obscured data into this highly sophisticated AI.
Yeah. But if the data is broken at the commercial level, what does this actually look like for the humans steering the ship? It kind of reminds me of buying an insanely complex smart home system. You install all this tech to make your life easier, but suddenly turning on a basic light switch requires a manual.
Yeah, and you just feel isolated in your own house.
Right?
That smart home isolation is exactly what Philip Nielsen warns about in these sources. He argues that highly trained captains are effectively being demoted.
Demoted how?
Well, they aren't actively navigating or exercising judgment anymore. They've just become supervisors forced to check algorithmic boxes. The technology essentially strips away their decision-making authority.
Which creates a massive disconnect. We are taking the people with the most contextual knowledge and turning them into, what, data entry clerks?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Data entry clerks for an AI that is running on bad data anyway, and it's driving them into isolation. Nielsen points out this silent stowaway of digital loneliness.
Digital loneliness, that's a strong phrase. Right. We thought better connectivity would help crews, but instead they're just retreating to screens in their cabins rather than, building social cohesion in the mess room. Daniel Weiss from Vail put it really bluntly at Geneva Dry. He said a lot of this tech is just startups pushing a solution, looking for a problem.
But there have to be examples of getting this right. I mean, the winning formula can't just be adding more software. It sounds like it has to be about subtracting complexity and actually augmenting the human.
Definitely. And Vail is actually a great case study of getting it right. They achieved 70% higher ETA accuracy. But they didn't just buy an off-the-shelf machine learning tool and force it on the crew.
So what did they do differently?
They realized the root problem was behavioral. The teams were siloed, and they just didn't trust the tech. So they spent time training their staff on an innovation culture first.
So once the human element was aligned, then they deployed the AI.
Exactly. Because the crew understood and trusted the tool, it actually worked.
They fixed the human behavior before applying the digital solution. That makes perfect sense.
Right. And then you have Burmester and Vogel. Their CEO, Evangelos Estathio, built a document data lake. So instead of adding new data entry tasks, this thing acts like an AI vacuum.
An AI vacuum?
Yeah, it basically sucks up years of trapped PDF reports and messy emails, synthesizes them, and instantly spits out a clean timeline. He used it to show a Canadian owner exactly how many hours they lost to port strikes over 3 years.
Oh, wow. So the data was always there, just buried.
Exactly. The techs simply extracted it to empower the operator's intelligence.
Which proves that AI should really be doing the heavy lifting to support the human, not the other way around.
100%.
For you listening, if you want to explore this dynamic further, the business of maritime tech, AI innovation, and what is actually working for ship owners versus what isn't, all of that will be heavily debated at the brand new Splash Tech Digital Leaders Forum.
Oh, it's going to be a fantastic panel.
Yeah, you can catch that top panel at Splash Singapore on September 24th. It's definitely something you won't want to miss.
The debate is just so critical right now because, as we've seen, algorithms can only optimize the exact information they are fed.
Which leaves us with a fascinating question to ponder. If our most advanced maritime algorithms are currently being derailed by basic data hoarding, will the ultimate competitive advantage in the age of artificial intelligence actually be old-fashioned human honesty and trust?